Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakal Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. To you I say Shalom. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the flock of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. This is Psalms chapter 11. I'm going to start at verse 5. The Lord Yahweh trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hateth. Alright? So when you're righteous, you're gonna be tried, man. That's why the book of Sirach says, prepare yourself for temptation if you come to serve the Lord. That's roughly paraphrasing, but let me get that real quick. Sirach chapter 2 and verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Alright, so basically, but the point is I wanted to bring out, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hateth. Alright, who loves violence more than anything, man? It's Esau Edom, the so-called white man. And I was just meditating on something earlier about a phrase called crimes against humanity. Alright, so if you Google crimes against humanity, it says, what are the 12 crimes against humanity? The crimes against humanity entail extermination, which Esau's guilty of that with Gad and Reuben, right? He came to America, alright, and he tried his best, right, to exterminate Gad and Reuben. But again, that's prophesied that Gad and Reuben will be brought down to a small number, but they'll come up at the end. All right. So even though he didn't completely exterminate, some of the northern tribes, he tried to. All right. Murder again with Gad and Reuben, but all 12 of the tribes, man, he's guilty of murder, enslavement again, other nations as well as Esau Edom, but Esau Edom is the main culprit, especially Amalek, you so-called small hats, man. All right, torture, again, guilty. Imprisonment, guilty. Rape, guilty. Forced abortions and other sexual violence, guilty. All right, there's images of or pictures and stories about how Esau Edom during the transatlantic slave trade would rip babies out of their mother's wombs, right? While the baby and the mother were still alive and awake. Right? With no anesthesia or nothing, just cut the womb open and tear the baby out. That's a forced abortion, other sexual violence. Right? Esau Edom is guilty of that. Persecution on political, religious, racial, and gender grounds, guilty. The forcible transfer of populations, guilty. All right? Moving Gad and Reuben to reservations, that's a forcible transfer of populations, man. The enforced disappearance of persons and the inhumane act of knowingly. Slocky. Let me just click it. Let me see if I can find it. What I was reading from and continue on. Alright. The forced disappearance of persons and the inhumane act of knowingly causing prolonged starvation. Alright, guilty of that as well. Again with Gad and Reuben specifically, because what Esau did was because Gad and Reuben like to hunt bison and eat bison. So Esau Edom, they put out basically a bounty on bison, and they said basically whoever kills the most bisons will get the most money. So they wiped out a source of food. That's forced starvation, man. Alright. So we go back to Psalms chapter 11. And verse 5, the Lord Yahweh trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hateth. So Esau Edom is guilty of this, man. And since they're guilty, the Lord hates Esau Edom, man. And that's in the scriptures. Alright? Let me jump to Salakia. Malachi chapter 1. Malachi 1 and 2. I have loved you. You know what? Let me start at 1. the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. All right. So this is specifically addressed to Israel, right? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. I have loved you, saith the Lord. I have loved you, Israel, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. All right. He hates Esau, man. All right. It's all throughout the scriptures. It may not say, it does say, I hate Esau specifically, but all throughout the scriptures, it mentions Esau and as a subject of hatred by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. And with Psalms 11 and 5 is a perfect example of that. The Lord trieth the righteous, but the wicked goes back to Esau Edom, and him that loveth violence, which is basically the same person, his soul hateth. Verse 6, upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire, and brimstone, and a horrible tempest. This shall be the portion of their cup. All right. This is the judgment of Esau for the crimes against humanity they did, specifically against the chosen people of the Lord, man. All right, let me jump to Genesis chapter 9. I'm going to start at verse 5. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. And at the hand of man, at the hand of man's brother, Slakia, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of the Yahweh made he man. All right. Man is made in the image of the powers, man. So when you shed man's blood, your blood has to be shed. All right. So Esau Edom's blood has to be shed. And the crimes against humanity specifically is not specifically, but is again another nail in the coffin for Esau Edom, man. They can't get away, man. Their sins doth witness against them, man. All right. And then we Google punishment for crimes against humanity. Of course, Esau is real lenient with his own punishments, man. The penalty for a crime against humanity is imprisonment for a term not exceeding 30 years. All right. So the maximum time in jail you could get for committing a crime against humanity. All right. Let's go back to list some of the crimes against humanity: extermination, murder, enslavement, torture, rape. Right. But you can't do more than 30 years for committing these acts, man. That's Esau Edom, man. This is a false balance, man. And a false balance is an abomination to the Most High, man. Let me see if I can find that, Lord willing. Proverbs 11? Proverbs 11 and 1. A false balance is an abomination to Yahweh, to the Lord, to the Lord Yahweh. But a just weight is his delight, all right? So when you commit these acts, these crimes against humanity, and you say you can't do more than 30 years, that's a false balance, man. Why is it a false balance? Because you got people, selling drugs, selling weed, right? And they're doing life, right? Because Esau Edom got the rule 3 strikes and you're out, all right? But instead of selling weed to support their family, or even if it's some carnal shit to, make money, right? A crime like that isn't worth life in prison, all right? Based on the context of Esau Edom's laws. But again, you could commit genocide, extermination, forced abortions, and you can't do more than 30 years. So if you commit these crimes when you're 25, you could get out of jail when you're 55 and still commit these crimes again, man. All right? I'm not going to make this too long. Let me get one more. I'm going to wrap it up. Slakia. Numbers 35. I'm going to start at verse 30. Whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses, plural. But one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die. All right, because, one man could have a quarrel with that person, and put up a false accusation. All right. If it only took one person to accuse somebody and they were guilty, all right, people will take advantage of that. But you need two or three witnesses, all right, for things to be established. All right, verse 31. Moreover, ye shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death, but he shall be surely put to death. And I think satisfaction goes into bribe, right? Let's go into this word satisfaction here. Satisfaction, akan. Price of a life, ransom, bribe. All right, so you can't take no bribe, because again, that's a false balance. You can't take no bribe. If somebody's guilty, they gotta die, man. You can't take no bribe. All right, there's no bribe for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's chosen people. This is why Esau Edom has to die, man. All right, that's why they're gonna go 1,000. They're gonna serve 1,000-year jail sentence and then be put to death, man. All right. Numbers 35 and 32. And he shall take no satisfaction, no ransom, for him that is fled to the city of his refuge, that he should come again to dwell in the land until the death of the priest. All right, so let me actually go into another Bible for that, because I don't want to say something off. All right, New Living Translation, I believe, NLT. Khan. And never accept a ransom payment from someone who has fled to a city of refuge, allowing a slayer to return to his property before the death of the high priest. I took it as a Slock. Let's continue on. Verse 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. All right, this again, Esau Edom is not going to do a maximum 30-year sentence for his crimes against humanity. They are going to be put to death, not only because it is in the law, but also because we have to cleanse the land, man. The earth has to be cleansed. It's highly defiled by the blood of the saints, man. Blood of the innocent saints at that too. All right, verse 34. Defile not, therefore, the land which ye shall inhabit, wherein I dwell, for I, the Lord, dwell among the children of Israel. And that's a cut right there for anybody that says that God loves everybody, because he only dwells among the children of Israel. All right. But I'm going to wrap it up with that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. Until next time, I want to say Shalom and Abad Rabal.